Wamiliki wa biashara ya hoteli katika eneo la Pwani wanaitaka serikali ya kaunti
Gujarat Bagaimana
kaunti ya Kirinyaga sasa lina gavana Anne Waiguru yote kwa serikali ya kitaifa hizo na janga la ugonjwa wa COVID-19.
Menteri
participants no still an UN
Hello, good morning. Morning, how are you? Hello. Organic chemistry 1. You mentioned a few things. We mentioned a few things on just a minute. So in our last class, we were talking about organic chemistry 1. And we talked about a few things on that. We talked on the homologous series. We talked about some of the properties of those homologous series. We defined what organic chemistry is. We defined, we gave a reason why carbon forms majority of compounds. We gave some of the reasons why most of the compounds are formed and made up of what? Of carbon. One of them was being that carbon has the ability to form 4 bonds. Carbon can form single, triple, and double bonds. We also say that carbon is able to form those long chain, a process we termed as catenation. A process we termed as catenation. A process we termed as catenation. Is that true, Mohammed Farah? Yes. Mohammed. Okay, Hilario Mondi. Hilario Mondi. Hilario Mondi. You're not talking. Michael Francis.
Yes, it's true.
Oh, so anything that you can add into what you had said before? Yes, Ted Mutia. Ted, unmute yourself. I'm seeing your hands are up, Ted. Yes, Elimo.
Yes.
Kuna na kichano kwa nywele. Unaweza toa?
Yes.
So now today I want us to look at something different. I want us to look at something completely different. On now we say that these hydrocarbons can be grouped into 3. They can be placed into 3 groups. Okay, the hydrocarbons can be placed into 3 groups based on 1. We say that there are 3 groups of.
That's a good thing.
Which one did we say they are? Ephraim Mwangi? Ephraim Mwangi. Okay, Limo, which are the three groups of hydrocarbons that we talked about?
Alkenes, alkenes and alkenes.
Alkenes, and
Alkyne.
alkynes. So they're grouping, they're placed into those three groups based on whether they're having a double bond, a single bond, or a triple bond. Because up there, I told you before that carbon has the ability to form single, double, and triple bonds. So we mentioned something to do with the sources of hydrocarbons, where we said you can get them from crude oil, natural gas, biogas, cracking of long chain alkanes. And some of the components of crude oil we said is natural gas, petrol, diesel, and lubricating oil. And we said that again, that this component of the crude oil can be separated because of their differences in what we call close but different boiling point. They have what close but different boiling point. They have close but different boiling point. They have close but different boiling point. So yeah. So very first we start on alkanes. We start on alkanes. That is our first hydrocarbon that we want to look at. Alkanes. Alkanes will be our first group of hydrocarbon that I want us to look at. So what are these alkanes? What are they? Anybody with an idea? Anybody with an idea of what alkanes are? Yes, Mohammed. You are muting yourself.
They are type of hydrocarbons whose carbon atoms are linked by a single covalent bond.
That is very good. Yes, Victor Moiti. That is good, Mohammed.
I wanted to say the same.
Oh, that's good. So are hydrocarbons with a single carbon bond. Indicate that these are hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons with a single carbon bond.
Hello?
Yes. Yes, Victor. Are hydrocarbons with a single carbon bond. Hydrocarbons with a single carbon bond. So the carbon-carbon atoms are linked together by a single covalent bond. Okay. So you can say IE, the carbon atoms are linked together with a single covalent bond. Linked together with a single covalent bond. Are linked together with a single covalent bond. You know, if you joke around in my class, I automatically remove you. So if you want to write as I write, you may not try. So they're linked together by a single covalent bond. So you see carbon forms covalent bond. Covalent bond is a type of bond where both atoms contribute electrons equally. So that, like, you know, carbon has got 4 electrons in the atmost energy level. So it means in the sharing section, each carbon atom is going to contribute 2 electrons. The other one contributes 2, the other one contributes 2. So every single covalent bond represents 2 electrons. Another thing about these alkanes is that they are saturated. They are saturated. They are saturated. So when you say they are saturated, who can explain for us what that means? When we say they are saturated, what does that simply mean? Yes, Jesse Limo.
It's because they have one single covalent bond in their molecule.
They have one single covalent bond. That's a good trial. That was a good GSA. Another one, another trial. Another trial. Yes, yes, Duncan, ready?
The carbon atoms are full of hydrogen atoms.
The carbon atoms are full of hydrogen atoms. That is good. Muti, Victor. Good, Duncan.
They are bonded to the maximum number of the possible atoms.
Possible atoms, they have got the maximum number of possible atoms. I'm seeing people have got some idea. That is good. Yes, Duncan, Masibai.
It means that each carbon is bonded to 4 other atoms through single covalent bond.
Each carbon is bonded to 4 other carbon atoms through a single covalent bond. Also the same, right? Victor Mwiti, I'm seeing your hands up still.
Finished.
Okay, so and lower it. Good. So when you say they're saturated, something saturated, if it in terms of solution, then we always say the solution that cannot dissolve any more carbon, any more solids. But now these hydrocarbons, we are saying they're saturated to mean you can say IA, they have the maximum number of hydrogen. They have the maximum number of hydrogen. They have the maximum number of hydrogen atoms in them. They have the maximum number of hydrogen atoms in them. They have the maximum number of hydrogen atoms in them. They have the maximum number of hydrogen atoms in them. They have the maximum number of hydrogen atoms in them. Don, is that right?
Yeah.
So when you say they have the maximum number of carbon atoms in them, what that simply mean is that you know that carbon, like for example, the first, let's say we have this carbon here. Let's say we have got this carbon here. Have this one here, over here. We have got a carbon there. Let me show you. When you have a carbon, and you know that carbon has got how many electrons? 4 electrons. So in this side, there is a bond. In the upper section, there is a bond. Githaiga, can you mute yourself? On the left side, there is a bond, and on the lower side, there is another bond. So when you have all these bonds occupied by hydrogen atoms, and all of the bonds in the organic compound is occupied by hydrogen atoms, like you can see there.
Nikwambie alisema sijui hizo gazeti.
My friend, if you're speaking outside the classroom, can you mute yourself?
Rudish.
So, Collins, if you look at that particular compound, Mwangi Collins, if you look at that particular compound, then you can see that it has got the maximum number of all the bonds in that particular carbon atom have been occupied. All of them have been occupied. When we say that this particular carbon is saturated because it's having the maximum number of carbon atoms. At all times, here, students, at all times, we should ensure that if you're drawing any organic compound, then all the bonds, carbon must be surrounded by how many bonds? 4 bonds. There must always be 4 bonds. Either whether it is single bond, a double bond, or a triple bond, ensure that at any point of time, the carbon is surrounded by 4 covalent bonds. That's how Malcolm look. Yeah. So that is an illustration of what I was trying to talk about. That is what I mean by saturation. That's what I mean by saturation. Okay. Another thing. Yes, Mohammed. You have a question?
No.
Okay, fine. Another thing about them, about these alkanes, is that is that they have a general formula. 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 They have a general formula for Cn. They have a general formula of Cn H2n plus 2. They have a general formula for Cn H2n plus 2. They have a general formula of Cn H2n plus 2. What I mean by that is they have a general formula of Cn H2n plus 2. So just a minute. They have a general formula of Cn H2n plus 2. So if you want to write the formula of any alkane, you want to get, you look at the number of carbon atoms that you want to write its formula. Just like I told you in Form 3, we only learn the first 10 hydrocarbons. We only learn the first 10 hydrocarbons. We only learn the first 10 hydrocarbons. So, for instance, so I don't know whether you wrote that in the right way they're supposed to be written. I'm trying to log into something here. Kindly just a minute, so that you can see what I mean by that. Okay, so as that particular thing is loading, please see. But now you can try writing if you want to write. If you don't want to write, you can also. Those of us who are writing the screen, I think I've disabled all of you, so you may not be able to do that anymore. So, I want us to, there's something here I've shared. That I want you to see. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
That is what I mean
Yes.
by the general formula. You're supposed to write it the way I've written it, like that. Cn H2n plus 2. So that is the general formula of alkane. Cn H2n plus 2. That is the general formula of all alkanes.
Yes.
That is the general formula of all alkanes. So Githaiga. So what does that n stands for? What does that n stands for? Where n is the number of carbon atoms. 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 Kelvin Kabwe. Kelvin. Good morning.
Good morning.
Unanisikiza?
Nasikia.
That's good. So where N is the number of carbon atom. Chege, Maurice.
Yes.
Any question?
No.
No question. So we can continue. So also about something again on alkanes, indicate that the general formula, Tibet, mute your microphone, Tibet, general formula. General formula assists in obtaining the molecular formula. Assists in obtaining the molecular formula of the alkane. Assists in obtaining the molecular formula of the alkane. Assists in obtaining the molecular formula of the alkane. Assists in obtaining the molecular formula of the alkane. So we use the general formula to help us in obtaining the molecular formula of the alkane in question. Duncan. We continue.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So the next NB is that indicate that the molecular formula of a compound shows Ian,
Yes.
are you with us?
Yes.
The molecular formula of a compound. The molecular formula of a compound shows the molecular formula of a compound. The molecular formula of a compound shows the elements present in a compound. And the position in a compound shows the molecular formula of a compound shows the elements present in that compound present and the position of the atoms. So the molecular formula of a compound, it will show you the elements, which elements are present in that particular compound. Like when you look at, you say this is H2, when you have H2 SO4, when you have H2 SO4, when you have H2 SO4, Ian Kungu, when you have H2 SO4, when you have H2 SO4, Ian,
Yes.
Which elements are there in that particular compound?
Hydrogen, sulfur,
Mhm. Oxygen. So we have got hydrogen, sulfur, and oxygen. So we are saying that that is a molecular formula of a given compound because it is showing us how many of those hydrogens are there, how many sulfurs are there, how many oxygens are there. So the molecular formula of a compound will show you the exact position and how many of those elements are present in that particular compound. Is that right? So here we now start to see how do we name the first alkanes. How do we use the general formula to help us know each alkane is number 1, each alkane is number 2, each alkane is number 3, and what are their molecular formula? What are their molecular formula? So we'll use the general formula of the alkanes to help us determine the molecular formula. Are we together? Help us determine the molecular formula. Mohammed, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So let's write examples. Examples. So our first example is to know the molecular formula of the first alkane to determine the molecular formula of the first alkane. Determine the molecular formula of the first alkane. To determine the molecular formula of the first alkane. Determine the molecular formula of the first alkane. How do we go about it? We said, given that the general formula, of alkanes is CnH2n plus 2. CnH2n plus 2, the general formula. CnH2n plus 2 is the general formula. Given that the general formula of alkane is CnH2n plus 2, where n is the number of carbon atoms. 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 So this n here is simply the number of carbon atoms. So it means for the first alkane, n is what?
1.
N is 1. That is good. For the first alkane, n is 1. Mohammed, that is so good. First alkane, n is 1. Therefore means for the first alkane, n is equal to 1. Please, if you're not understanding anything, just raise up your hand. I'll see you on the screen and give you attention. For the first alkane, n is 1. So if n is 1, how many carbons do we have?
1.
1. That is good. So, yes, Gilbert Waweru. Oweru, speak, please.
Why is N1?
Because we are looking for the first alkane. The first alkane is carbon number 1. Okay? And we say that N represents the number of carbon atoms. So it means if you want the first alkane, then the first alkane must be is carbon number 1. Look up, I don't know whether you're understanding what I'm saying.
I understand.
Okay, fine. So N is 1 because the carbon number 1 is 1. So if N is 1, then we can say that therefore the molecular formula of first alkane is the molecular formula of the first alkane using the general formula. We'll use that general formula. So we'll substitute N by 1. So if we substitute N by 1, we will have C1. H is what?
4.
4. Because it is 2 times N plus 1. Really?
Plus 2.
Plus 2 actually, plus 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 2, you get 4. So the molecular formula of the first alkane will be C1, okay, H4. C1, H4. C1, C. So because C is 1, there is no need of writing it. So we just say the molecular formula of the first alkane is CH4. The molecular formula of the first alkane is CH4. The molecular formula of the first alkane is CH4. Anybody with a question on that? Because this is where you must start here. You must know how to name them. That is when you can understand the concepts which are lying ahead. So if you don't understand anything here, please ensure you understand so that I don't move and leave you behind. I don't move and leave you behind. Yes, Leslie. Nogi. Yes.
1.
Yes. Leslie.
When you're writing the first molecule, the molecular formula of the first alkane, do you have to write the 1?
No, that's why I said because N is C is 1, we don't really need to write that 1. So you can just simply say CH4. CH4. You can simply say CH4. Just like can have that then. So you write it like that. Is that visible?
Yes.
Yeah, you write it like that. Write it like that. CH4. Can somebody write for me the formula of the second alkane? Second, third, and fourth. The molecular formula of this. Yes, Ted. Ted, please, your hands are up.
C2H6.
C2H6, that is good. Benjamin Moina, Monia. Monia, Benjamin. Benjamin Monia, please, unmute yourself.
C3H8.
C3, the third?
H.
That is the third. C3H8. That is good. Mohammed, the seventh.
C7 H16.
That is excellent. C7H16. Equa Victor, the 10th. Equa Victor, the 10th alkane. As Equa is preparing for the 10th one, let's Jesse Limo tell us the 5th. The 5th.
C5H12.
C5H12, that is so good. Yes, Ted, tell us the 6th one.
C6H14.
C6H14, that is so excellent. Lesson Alan, the 8th. Lesson Alan. The 8th. Alan is still preparing. Brighton, the 2nd.
C2H6.
C2H6, that is good. Bruce Jesse, the 4th.
Nada. C4H18.
C4?
H10.
H10, yes. Mushiri Samuel. Sami, you want to say which number?
The 8th one. C8H18.
C8H18 was not talked here. Let me see those of them. If you have talked, you can lower your hand so that I get those who have not talked. Brighton, which one? Brighton, please. Okay, Fred, which number? Fred amepotea. Mutai, David, which number?
Yes, the 9th one, C9H20.
C9H20, that is good. That is good. Areri? Number? Equa Victor? Equa Victor, which number? So far, Mohammed?
The 10th. C10 H22.
C10 H22. C10 H22. That is so good. Is there anybody with a problem on how to name them? How to get the molecular formula? Please, if you have, raise your hand so that I get to help you before we move on. Ian, you have a problem? Juma Murunga? Murunga Juma? So that is how you do you use the general formula to get the molecular formula of those first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th alkane. Nomenclature of alkanes. 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 What does the word nomenclature mean?
Naming.
Naming. So how
Naming.
are alkanes? Naming, that is good. Naming, good. Naming is a nomenclature.
Yes, naming.
So
Naming.
that's okay. That's fine. Naming. How do we name these alkanes? What rules do we follow when naming alkanes? That's what we are asking ourselves. So indicate that alkanes are named by joining the prefix. Alkanes are named by joining the prefix and suffix ane and suffix ane. Alkanes are named by joining the prefix and the suffix ane. Alkanes are named by joining the prefix and the suffix ane. Alkanes are named by joining the prefix and the suffix ane. What is a prefix, Alan? Listen.
Is a phrase of words that comes before the suffix.
A phrase that comes before the sound, okay. Victor Ikwa. Kwa Victor, your answer up. Abel, Charo. Charo, what is the suffix?
It is a group of letters that come before the word. So they come
Suffix.
at the beginning. Suffix come after the word.
After the word, Collins Mwangi. What is a prefix?
Prefix is a group of words that come before the noun that you want to form.
That is true. The group of words that comes before. So pre and then suffix. So when you're naming alkanes, Lee Kamau. Yes, Victor Ikua. Your hands are up, please. Talk. Victor, unabeba mkono na uongei. Sawa, Mungu anakuona. Sawa. Fine. So, alkanes are named by joining the prefix and the suffix ane. The prefix indicates that the prefix depends. The prefix depends. Okay. The prefix depends. The prefix depends, not depends, depend on the number, of carbon atoms, depends on the number of carbon atoms, and it is uniform, and it is uniform for all organic compounds. It is uniform for all organic compounds, and it is uniform for all organic compounds, and it is uniform for all organic compounds. It is uniform for all organic compounds. So when you're naming alkanes, what do? You join the prefix and the suffix. You join the prefix and the suffix. You join the prefix and the suffix. And they're saying that the prefix is uniform for all organic compounds. So Benjamin.
Yes.
So the prefix is uniform for all organic compounds. U, uniform for all organic compounds. So just like in maths, you were taught that we have when we have what one, there is something like pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, nonagon, decagon. So also in organic chemistry, we have such terminologies. Like if you only have got one carbon atom, then we talk of something like one carbon atom is a meth. Then 2 is eth, 3 is prop, 4 is but, 5 is pent, 6 is hex, 7 is hept, 8 is oct, 9 is non, and 10 is dec. Thank you. 10 is dec. 10 is dec. Are we getting one another? 10 is dec.
Yes.
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 So I want you to copy that table in your book. I hope it is visible. So on the first column, we have number of carbons. Let me try to download it, then I can share it on a big screen. Let's try and draw that.
What's the first one?
Have you finished?
The first one is not clear.
The first, okay. On the first column, we have got number of carbon. On the second column, we have got prefix. The third column, we have got suffix. Then we have the name. And then on the last column, we have got what we call the molecular formula. So the number of carbon is 1 to 10. That is 1 to 10. The first one is meth, M-E-T-H, M-E-T-H, followed by E-T-H, that is eth, then prop, but, pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec. Don.
Yes.
Umeandika hizo?
I'm not yet done.
Malcolm Odwor.
Yes.
Sema unaona mkono iko juu.
These numbers.
Yeah.
These numbers that we are writing like in the third alkane. C3H8. The 3 and 8 are written as a subscript.
3 and 8. Yes,
Yes.
as a subscript, yes. They're supposed the way they are there. Are you seeing?
Yes, I can see.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like that. If anything that is not clear, that is not seen.
No. Mas right.
So we can continue. So those prefixes are common to all the groups of alkanes we are going to be studying. That is alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes. All the hydrocarbons, they are common to all of them. They're going to be common for all of them. So Benjamin.
Yes.
Yes.
You can continue. There are some people here who have not talked since they came to this class. Let me look for one. Okay, fine. I'm seeing somebody. Barak. Barak. You know, some of you just come, log in, and then they leave. Yes, Desmond. Yes. Berane class. So I'm in class. Bye. Oh, sorry for that, guys. So I want us to look at the next thing, which will be some of our winding. We'll be winding with that. We'll be winding up with that. Something to do with structural formula. Some of you just come and log in na wanatoka wanaenda. It is good pia, si mbaya. At least you've registered your presence. Structural formula. Structural formula. Structural formula. So under that, indicate that this shows how the atoms of different elements are arranged in a compound. This shows how the different elements are arranged in a compound. This shows how the different elements are arranged in a compound. That is what we mean by structural formula. Structural formula. So we have the molecular formula. Molecular formula, like we've talked about up there. Then the structural formula. Now you open it up. The structural formula. Like for example, we can say that the structural formula of the first alkane. The first alkane has got how many carbon, Victor Kahindo?
It had, okay. I'm not really sure.
The first alkane. Carbon number
Okay.
one.
It has one
carbon. One carbon.
Yeah, one carbon.
Okay, Austin Kimenju Austin. Oh, Austin. How are you?
So nyumba ndo attend lesson man. Udon sa kwa
Yes.
Kini usuko. Gai. Kuna kitu mzazi ufanya vyema ni kusuko. Whether during lesson or during
Austin, Mike. Austin, Mike.
Chanli kwa swali.
Yes, please ask. Unmute yourself.
Nataka kujibu lakini saa Victor ashajibu.
Oh, Victor ashajibu. Sawa. Thanks, brother. Good morning.
Morning.
Uko poa, umelost. Sawa, tuendelee. So I want us to look at the structural formula. For example, I was talking of this here, the structural formula. They show the different arrangement, how the different atoms are arranging in a particular compound. For example, this thing is hanging. Boring. So that is the structural formula of the first alkane. The structural formula of the first alkane. The structural formula of methane. Actually, the first alkane is called methane, okay? The first alkane is methane. So that is the structural formula. All of us can see that. Is it visible? Mohammed, are you okay? Did you see that? Gitao Martin.
Yeah, I'm good.
Umechora hiyo structural formula ya methane?
Sure.
Sawa sawa. Naona Maurice anaitwa Maurice X what? Really sleeping with a baby lying on top of him. Why do you come to class with a baby? Anyway, Ikwa, is the microphone now okay? Bado. But you can hear. Nazanisikiza? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Do me this. Nazanisikiza? College, hata kucheka bwana. So I want us to draw the structural formula of the first 10 alkanes. Structural formula of the first 10 alkanes. Anza na methane. Anthony. You're fine now.
Yes.
So draw the structural formula of the first 10 alkanes. The first 10 alkanes.
Yeah, I'm good.
So and then you will WhatsApp.
Yeah, I'm good.
All those, that is good. You WhatsApp me all those answers in my inbox. WhatsApp what you have drawn. The first 10 alkanes. Structural formula. Yes, Adala, naona mkono iko juu. Boden Adala. Boden.
Oh, I'm asking. It's structure. Are we doing the open structural or the condensed?
Open structural. That is when then we discuss condensed next. We first draw the open structural, alafu discuss the condensed structural formula. Kuna open and please draw open structural formula, not condensed. So because that is an assignment, you can leave some space for Benjamin Mwanya.
I had a question.
Please.
Yes?
Ask, please.
Is it important for you to know the names of the alkanes from the first one to the 10th one?
Yes, in fact, that is the basic thing. Single, meth, eth, prop, pent, x, hept, oct, non, dec. Methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane. Sasa tunajua October, November, December. So the last one, hiyo ni October, November, December. Octane, nonane, decane. Alafu najua kuna pentagon mahali, hiyo ni pentane. Hexagon, hexagon, hexane. Hept means 7. Wanataka tuseme trinane. Sawa, yes, Bode Nadala, naona mkono iko juu.
Bana. Before kukacha.
Oh, lower it. Edwin. Edwin, unmute yourself.
I would like to ask the difference between
Hey, unmute yourself.
I want to know the difference between condensed structural formula and open structural formula.
Condensed structural formula is where all the hydrogen carbons, I mean all the carbons, like we don't show the bonding. Like you see this one here, this one here, I'll just show you some here. You see this one here is an open structural formula. You can see the bonding. You can see the covalent bonds. You can see the covalent bond. We call it an open structural formula. But this one here is a condensed structural formula. This is a condensed structural formula. You can see that this is a condensed structural formula, and this one is an open structural formula. So that's the difference. In open structural formula, you can see all the bonds. You can see all the bonds.
I've understood.
That's good. That one sounds nice. Okay. Brian Makori. Makori, kuna swali?
Yes. Hapana.
Kwa sawa. Apollo. Alex, Apollo.
Hapana.
Sawa. Okay. Elvin came and left. Let me see another one. Okay, Chega is still there. Yes, Dore. Oh. So after you have drawn the open structural formula, I want you to also draw a condensed structural formula. Hapo kando ya hizo imechora, andika condensed structural formula. A condensed structural formula. Now, a condensed structural formula inachorwa hivi, kwa wale ambao maybe may not know how to draw them. Tuseme for example, for instance, let me just clear this. My board is full of writings. You have one. So that is hydrogen. Kidogo to sort out something here kindly. Some form to organizing here. So for instance, we have got carbon. So the one I'm drawing is an open structural formula. That's an open structural formula. So if I have, this is hydrogen, I will not draw those hydrogen because I think they're supposed to be hydrogen. Those arrows are hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds, and another hydrogen bond. So you can see that hydrogen bond. Now, if you look at the first carbon, yes, Newton. Newton, your hands are up.
What have you drawn? What is that? Yes, what is that you have drawn?
Yeah?
What is that you have drawn?
What have I drawn? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I've drawn alkane number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've drawn pentane. So Newton, these ones here.
Yeah.
These ones here are hydrogen, huh?
Yeah.
Hii pia ni hydrogen. Ni vile sijaziandika. Zote ni hydrogen. Kuziandika ni kama itachukua time. That's why I'm talking. So all of them are hydrogen. Mmoja tu niziandike for the sake. Newton, are we together now? Newton. So I hope you are following. So this one is pentane. This is pentane. Okay. Why are we calling it pentane? Because it has got carbon 3, 4, 5. This is the structural formula. If I want to do a condensed structural formula of pentane, then I will count on the first carbon atom. On the first carbon atom, we have a C, the first carbon atom. How many H's are there? There are 3. That's all. Are we still here? Anthony.
Yes.
So, if you are silent like that, I feel like I'm alone. Okay, so the first one is a CH3. And the second carbon atom, this one here. How many hydrogen do we have?
Well,
the CH2 there, ziko mbili. The third one is pia iko na mbili. The fourth one iko na mbili. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fifth one iko na ngapi? Na tatu. So this is a condensed structural formula. This is a condensed structural formula. So if you count the number of carbon hydrogen atoms here, Gilbert Waweru.
Yeah, so in short, the structural formula depends on the number of hydrogen atoms surrounding the carbon atom.
Sorry, you said?
So in order to get the condensed structural formula, It depends on the number of hydrogen atoms surrounding the carbon atom.
Yeah, so you write the carbon and then write the number of hydrogen atoms surrounding it.
Thank you.
Madam,
Yes,
I have a question.
please.
Can you, and if you shorten the CH2 or
alternatively, you can have it like this. You have CH3. Then how many CH2s do we have? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There are 3.
Three.
So you put in brackets CH2. They are 3. CH3. Something like that. So we can have this one, the second one, you can have this, or we can have this one here. So any which one you feel comfortable with. Any other person with a question? Sasa mtu anasoma kwa nyumba kuku surely. Chege wewe ni wewe kwa nyumba ya kuku. Chege.
Ai manze zai. Ai bana, hiyo ni kunichomea tu.
Nimeacha buda. Nimeacha. Wewe unakunga na study room.
Ai.
So guys, that is a condensed structural formula. Frederick Gakinya, shida iko wapi? So hizo kuku zimeenda sasa. No longer here them. My assignment, on addition to that, I'm adding you. And please make sure you send to my WhatsApp because some of you don't send. I know you are more than 500, but I'll try and see if I can do a way I can mark them. If possible, please do them in a PDF, not in a PDF, just a picture too. Or a PDF is okay. Actually, marking PDF is much easier. Marking PDF is much easier. Even I'm going to busy sometimes. So if I've not marked your work, I'm in the process of marking it. So, usiseme oh, hata nikituma hata mark. Chege, unasikia? Sema hata mark. Yes, Adala. Adala, unmute yourself.
we don't have your number.
Oh, I'm sending it in the inbox. Ndo hiyo hapo. To everyone. I hope everyone saw it. It is there. Ikuwa sio kuna namba yangu pia unaangalia inbox. Assignment ndio hiyo hapo. Please copy it. Name the following compounds. Naona hata wengine washamaliza wametuma, nisha mark nimewarudishia. That was good. Some people are just so punctual. Sammy, this is so good. Na amepata zote. Nangoja mtumane. I'm just seeing people are lefting. I don't know whether they've copied the assignment or not.
To my screenshot.
Okay. Sawa, kwa ni screenshot ni sawa. Unaweza piga picha by the way. Sasa watu
atuma aje.
Wewe tunasomea kwa kuku.
Kwa hiyo nitasema kwa nyumba za kuku tunaweza screenshot. Ndio kuku isituambaraze.
Wallahi.
Unasomaje kwa nyumba ya kuku by the way?
Leo mtarudi hii topic kwenda shule.
Hapana, kuna kurudia.
Guy.
Kwa nini?
Sasa mbona turudie?
Sijaelewa.
Mbona turudie?
Mbona turudie sasa? Labda kama yes.
Kila mtu wako.
Magoha alisema
Narudia
syllabus.
Bwana. Unajua ni unachazuka vizuri. Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Ai.
Anaumuka.
Hapo nimechoma. Hakuna nani nimemwambia? Hakuna story hiyo.